All right, everyone, welcome to tonight's Wednesday night call with our special guest, Dr. Bob. My name's Alex Evoy. I'll be the host for tonight, and I get the pleasure to actually introduce Dr. Bob to the conference call tonight. I hope everybody's had an amazing week. And the introduction to Dr. Bob became very interested in nutrition when he was 9 years old, started taking vitamins, and became a successful distributor in Cloverline, Salve, and Grit Weekly newspaper. He's built organizations into the tens of thousands, pretty well near hundreds of thousands of people inside of the network marketing industry. And I'll let him tell a lot about his background, but you're definitely going to want to take a pen and paper and listen closely to everything Dr. Bob has to say tonight, as his medical background is very sophisticated from multiple universities and multiple university courses, from poultry to swine to cattle to horses to humans, etc. And he is very well-rounded on nutrition. And like I said, you're going to want to grab your pen and paper and take a close listen to tonight's call because you're listening to a gentleman that knows the nutrition market like the back of his hand and is so excited to be a part of Q Sciences and what we have to offer here. So Dr. Bob, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much, Alex. By way of getting started here, I'll go over what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to cover 8 different topics, really. I'm going to talk about food recognized as nutrition, and I'm going to talk about nutritional boost. In the 1800s, there were a lot of snake oil salespeople that they discovered, some of them from travel and different things, like they came upon different types of teas that would give you a nutritional boost, and so they pushed it on people. And that caused a lot of problems 100 years later when people say, oh, you're talking about snake oil. And I didn't know until I started reading about the history of nutrition that, there had been those charlatans. And then we in the 1920s, we started getting vitamins in drugstores. I started taking vitamins. I was trying to figure if I was 8 or 9 years old. And, thinking back historically, I think the person that influenced me, I used to go into Hall's drugstore in Wilmington, North Carolina, was right around the corner from where I lived. And the pharmacist would always talk with me. He took time to talk with me, and I think maybe he was a good salesperson and he was trying to get me to buy some vitamins, but I think he swayed me away from prescription drugs. I was 32 years old before I ever even took an aspirin. I didn't believe in any kind of pharmaceutical drugs. And now I'm taking 4. Oh, my gosh, what a turnaround in life. And the next topic is going to be the government getting involved. When the government gets involved in anything, we know there's problems. And they did do a good thing, though, the Food and Drug Administration. They set up what they called RDAs, recommended daily allowances. They were not sufficient at all for providing the nutrition that people needed, but we've learned so much in the last 50 years, and particularly in the last 20 years, about formulation of nutrition products. And then I want to get to Q Sciences and why I joined the company and what I think the future of the company is. A real doll, Linda Doll, she told me about Q Sciences, And then she introduced me to Alex, my partner here on the call. And then he put me in contact with Brandon. And, I just felt at home. A lot of companies, sometimes people are standoffish, but I just felt at home. So that's how I got involved here. I always look for nutrition products. I've taken thousands of different products, and I guess that's why I'm around almost 80 years. My birthday is in October, and I'll be 80 years old. And like I say, I've been taking vitamins, minerals, herbs, CoQ10, DMSO, using that, all types of nutrition products. And I started off, as I said, really when there was very little known about vitamins. In fact, I remember once or twice at the table, my mother would say, "You're wasting your money buying those things." And, that just encouraged me to buy more. But in the early 1900s, there were only 3 essential nutrients that were recognized in food, and that was carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. And then people learned about niacin. They learned about vitamin C, and they learned about B1 and thiamine, and they learned by observation. People that were on ships going across the ocean, they got a type of disease, and they got sores and delusions, and they got what was called beriberi. And they found out that, particularly the English Navy, they found out that if they would take along limes, and they would cut the limes and put them in water and then drink it, that they wouldn't get that condition. And by the way, that's why they call the British Navymen limeys. Some things happened that were good. I grew up for the first 20 years of my life, I drank a lot of milk. In fact, you could put a pen to it, and I milked cows and sold milk as a teenager, and when I saved enough money to go to college that I didn't have to get any loans or get any help. And I figured that milk has been a big part of my existence, whole milk. And I don't know how many times that I taught over the last 40 years, do not drink skim milk. And when I worked in public health doing research, and I would talk to the women that were coming in the Women, Infants, and Children's program and in the early periodic screening and diagnosis. And, they didn't have a lot of money, and they were buying skim milk, which essentially is water. And I would tell them, get a gallon of real milk, and if you can get it from someone who hadn't pasteurized it, mix it with 8 gallons of water, and you've got 9 gallons of much better nutritive material than if you just buy that skim milk. Also, taste. I guess over my life, I have chosen to eat things that I enjoyed the taste of. And the more I learned about nutrition, the more I learned that the reason that I was liking those things is because they were good for me. the first, I've been now on the Core 96 for a month, and the second or third time that I took it, it just made me feel good. And I felt better every day. In fact, I was a distance runner for 35 years. I ran 7 to 9 miles a day, 5 to 7 days a week. And then I got a health problem and I couldn't run. And in fact, I have done in the last 25 years, I have done very little distance walking, although I always do try to walk, to park away from a place that I'm going in far enough that I get exercise. And you just have to look at your life and look at how you feel, and then decide that you want to make changes to feel better. And I got a little bit off of the subject there, but in the early 1900s, a gentleman named Kashmir Funk, he came up with the term vitamin, and he wrote a paper about vitamins, or vitamins, depending on what part of the world you live in. And his synopsis was that vitamins were things that were essential for life. And as more and more research was done, people find that he was correct, all the way back to 1912. I have read probably 200 books on health and nutrition, vitamins, herbs, and talked with hundreds of nutritionists and medical doctors that were interested in nutrition. And a book I read, I think it was around 1960, by Dr. Jarvis, who wrote a book called Arthritis and Folk Medicine. And he began to look at the benefit of eating correctly, and he studied cattle and what the cattle ate, and they ate grass that was acidic. He would go to where they just pulled up some grass and chomped it off, and he would get some of it, and he would analyze it, and he found that they were choosing acidic grass. Animals have instinct, and man had instinct at one time, but the people that developed fast food, they have put tricky combinations together so that people get hooked on things that are really not nutritious for them. And if you go into a modern supermarket, you'll find that a very small portion of the store has anything with nutrition in it. In fact, another medical doctor, and I think around 1965, and he wrote a book called Food is Your Best Medicine. And he began to investigate and to analyze things that people ate. And he even took cans of food and then measured the vitamin content. And this was in 65. And if you've looked at some of the videos that we have for Q Sciences, you learn that food doesn't have the nutritive value today that it did 50 years ago. In fact, you have to eat 6 times as much. I think I saw a video Brandon was talking about, Brandon Stevens. He was talking about the nutrition in an apple, and he said you'd have to eat 6, 7 times the number of apples to get the nutrition that was in one apple at the turn of the past century. It's really it is a big world problem because fast food has taken over the world, and particularly for young people that are eating fast food and not getting any nutrition through vitamins and, a boost to their diet. Also, let me make a point that I found, and some people may disagree with this, but you always want to take vitamin products, nutrition products with food, because that way you get what is called synergism. And it's just like yesterday I started on the Core Prime, Q Prime, and as I looked at all the ingredients, all the different encapsulated and micro elements that were in the two products that I'm taking, then I said, man, I'm going to get feeling even better. And when you can feel the effect of something that you put in your body, then you are on the way to making your body have more energy, your mind be more alert, your immune system be stronger. So consider that. That's very important. Your immunity is built in your small intestine, and the products that Q Science has made, they have used a gelatin which goes around some of the micronutrients so that they will be available and won't be destroyed by the stomach. For many years, probably the value that people got from taking vitamins was minimal, because the hydrochloric acid in the stomach that's produced when you anything goes into the stomach, it would have destroyed most of the nutrition. But the science, and particularly this company, Q Sciences, for some 6 years, I think maybe 6 years the company is old. You can check that, but I remember reading or seeing that somewhere. And the product is only 20 years old. So you're going back to 1998 for the development. We're in right on the ground floor of a lot of knowledge that has really changed how people look at nutrition. I was a distributor for a company, and this was back in the 1960s, in the late 1960s, and a congressman had put a bill on the floor in the House to make all vitamins and vitamin products be only available from a medical doctor. It didn't make any sense because medical doctors did not talk to people about nutrition, most of them. Some did. But I've talked with hundreds of them and tried to get them to take nutrition products. And most doctors take vitamins, but they don't have an understanding of how important the vitamins are. When I saw it, this company had, I believe, 150 medical doctors, and that the first product was formulated and was imagined by a medical doctor, I just got so excited. I said, man, this is my company that has come to fruition. And I really believe that. if we look back in the 50 years ago, there was a lot of anti-vitamin and nutrition literature. In fact, in 1922, the American Journal of Medical Science, they came out against vitamins. And, they were telling people to take things like cod liver oil, and then the people didn't like the taste of it to get their vitamins A and D, and so they put things in it to make it taste better, and they destroyed some of the value of the cod liver oil. And that's what's happened over the last 20 years. People have learned more about synergism, or the fact that certain things work together and create more and better nutrition. In 1941, President F. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he had a national nutrition conference, and that's when the recommended daily allowances for vitamins came into being. And there were 6 vitamins and 2 minerals. And one of those minerals, believe it or not, but they put it in salt. And the people that lived around the coast didn't have some of the diseases that people that lived inland. So when they put that vitamin in salt, that people then it was a mineral they put in the salt, and the people started having better health. I just had a thought here. There are some things that you absolutely want to stay away from if you want to be healthy. And I have never drank a diet soda. They just don't taste good, but they actually will cause your cells to become resistant to insulin, and if you drink a lot of them, you're going to die early. The government got involved, and they came up with a lot of good things, but they should intervene in bad things like diet soda. As I have got more knowledge about nutrition, I started taking different products. About 4 years ago, I started taking cinnamon, and to help with blood sugar. And also in 1968 or 69, I was reading some research from a study that was going on in North Dakota using a product called chromium picolinate. And so I had just gotten out of a company that I was in, and a friend and myself started a company. It was called Help Star. And we put all of the nutrition that was in the previous company, and I suggested the chromium picolinate, and it was about a month before we got it in, but we were the first company to have chromium picolinate, and that is one of the only things that you can take that you will start losing weight, and it works on your blood sugar, and it changes. I won't go into some of the things that it does, but it changes the mechanisms that insulin is incorporated in at the cellular level, and it's a good product. the first product that I took was one-a-day vitamins, and that came out in 1943. That was one of the first vitamins to come out, and I think it was about $1.40 for a bottle, and I took that for a number of years. In the 1960s, nutrition really started to take off, and you had scientists like Linus Pauling and his studies of vitamin C. And then in the 1970s, there were many vitamin products on shelves in drugstores and the big box stores. They started taking attention to the fact that a lot of people were looking for vitamins. In 1978, I went to Australia with a health company, and every drugstore that I went to in several towns in Australia, and particularly in Sydney, every drugstore had a herbal store attached. So I got interested and started studying herbs and their effects. And now we've got some fantastic herbs. And I was looking yesterday after I was talking with Alex at one of the products that we have for women. And it has some fantastic herbs in it. The first, the previous company that I was in back then, they came out with Dong Quai or Tang Quai, depending on which Chinese lingo you use. And women had tremendous results with it. And I said to Alex, I said, I'll bet that product has Dong Quai in it. And so when I checked later yesterday, I found out that it did. Our products are superb. Our products have been generated with science. The microcapsulation and chelation, that this is something that's just since World War II been known about. And it's expensive, but it changes the entire usability of vitamins by the body. So over the years, in the 1940s, scientists began to do research on A and B1, B2, B3, vitamin C, vitamin D, and calcium. And as I said, people are amazed when they do a bone density test of my body, because it's like a 16-year-old. My bones are so solid, but that came from drinking all the milk. You figure up, I figure maybe I drank 150 gallons of milk. No, not 150 gallons. About 3 gallons, about 3 gallons a week for 50 years. A lot of milk, and it built strong bones. And today, we have even more research on a whole array of vitamins that weren't even known about 40 years ago. And I watched a video of the development of the first product. I think it was about 20 years ago by the doctor who formulated the first product for Q Sciences, and the Q96 for dementia, addiction, for ADHD, and for bipolar, and for Parkinson's, and other neurological diseases. It's just amazing that we have come this far in this short period of time of less than a century. Of course, if you go back and you look at historically, the people that survived, although man didn't have a very long lifespan, the persons that survived did learn to eat right. And by eating right, I mean they got necessary and sufficient. That's very important nutrition, necessary and sufficient nutrition. And that's what science has enabled Q-Science to calculate for many demographic entities the nutritional needs that are put into the products. And, you know, I thought I would give you an introduction to my getting involved in nutrition and eventually getting involved in this wonderful company. And now I'm taking, by the way, how I figured out, I have taken hundreds and hundreds of different companies' products, and I try to get my system cleared out of other things to test. I did that with Tahitian noni, and Tahitian noni changed my life. It really gave me the most energy, and I'm not drinking it now, but I drank it for about 14 years. And but it has a lot of antioxidants in it, and we have antioxidants in several of the products. And the first product that I started using was the sleep, because I had a surgery on the 2nd of July, and then I was in rehabilitation for 3 weeks, and my sleep patterns got all confused, and sleep is very important. And so the first thing that I said I'm going to test is the sleep. And you just spray it under your tongue. And I did it. I was a little bit dubious about what it would, but I sprayed it under my tongue, and I laid down, and 6 hours later I woke up and felt in years. And then I said, well, now I'm going to try the B12. So, of course, B12 gives you energy and works with all the other B vitamins. I'm a proponent of B vitamins, and I've taken B vitamins for 40 years. And so I tried the B12, and by golly. Now, when you can feel the effect of a product, you can believe that people will latch onto that product, and they will. It doesn't make any difference. Of course, it's very affordable. I think they're about $14 for a month's supply, and you know, people will sacrifice to get things that really help them. And now those are the 5 products, the products that I have tested out myself. And always remember that you can test out products in your body, and you don't have to ask your doctor about these products, because these products are safe, and you really couldn't afford to eat enough of them to give you any problems. I'm going to qualify that by saying that there always are some people that have a little different system, and they may, something may upset them. But Alex has much more knowledge of the 18 products. We have 18 products now, and I think we're going to be coming out with some CBD products in the future. And I'm going to turn the call over to him, and then I'm going to listen and learn. How about that, Alex?
Can you hear me, Dr. Bob?
Fine.
That was great. So what did you like me to cover?
The products that I didn't talk about, and particularly you seem to really understand the value of the woman's products.
Yeah. So thanks again, Dr. Bob, for hopping on this call. I've been taking a lot of notes. It's been extremely educational. And I know the women's product is extremely good. Removes mood swings, hot flashes, brain fog, stuff like this. Really, it helps balance the women's hormone, the estrogen receptor. And there's actually a man's Revitalize 2 inside of Q Sciences that helps balance out the testosterone for the male. The products that I'm using currently with Q Sciences, I take about 2 Rev Sport a day, sometimes 1, depends on the day. That's the energy drink that's all natural with zero crash. I don't even feel dehydrated. It's good for me. I had a friend back when I was playing hockey that dropped dead on the ice with a heart attack because of Monster, Red Bull, 5-hour energy, Rockstar type kind of drinks. So I can really appreciate what Q Science is doing here with the Rev Sport energy drink. Not only does it increase my productivity, but increase my energy levels and sustains them throughout the day with zero crash, which I love because I used to be a Red Bull drinker. And then I'm also taking the Q Core Q Max system. That has the Q Max in it that has, $25+ million in research implemented in it, tons of clinical trials, over 44 different research studies, university after university after university, all the way to the most prestigious ones in the United States, like Harvard University. And then you have, so inside of the Q Core Q Max system, you have the Q Max, the Q Prime, the Q Omega, and then you have the Q Biotic. And what it is you have the actual Q Max helps for your brain nutrition. It's clinically proven to work on 19 out of 22 patients and may help dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease, severe signs of depression, bipolar, ADHD, etc. The list really does go on, and that does help. It's clinically proven 19 out of 22 patients. That's just the Q Max. Then we have the Q Prime, and the Q Prime helps the glycocolex. And the glycocolex, a lot of people don't know or understand these things, but essentially when you pass about 45 years old, it's statistically proven that there's this gas inside of your vein called nitric oxide, and there's 8 different pathways from the L-arginine pathway, etc., to create this nitric oxide gas inside of the vein. And what happens is after 45 years old, you become 50% less on this gas inside of your vein. And what happens is typically 50-year-old people and up have to go on some sort of a blood thinner because they have a heart attack or they have high cholesterol or whatever it may be. And the reason being is because as that gas keeps depleting and depleting and depleting, the vein gets smaller and smaller and smaller and starts restricting blood flow in some areas because of cholesterol. Cholesterol builds on the inside of the artery, inside of the glycocolex, as it starts to harden. And as that opening that used to, let's say, be 1/10 of an inch wide, now comes down to 0.05, 0.03, 0.02. Well, when it gets to 0.01, because the nitric oxide levels have decreased so much that this hole that the plaque was built around has decreased 1/10, that's when people run into the heart attack issues because of the cutoff from the cardiovascular system. So with our Prime, what it does is it actually helps the nitric oxide and helps rejuvenate the glycocolex to help increase those nitric oxide levels to help increase your cardiovascular system's blood flow. So extremely good for anybody over 45 years old. I would recommend be taking this because obviously, Dr. Bob, you and I both know, blood thinners are just as good as rat poison. It's pretty much what people are taking. And then you have the omegas, and the omegas is your amino acids, your omega-3, etc. It helps carry the nutrition into the brain and throughout the body to the cellular level. And then you have your probiotic. Now, this probiotic is the best of the best. Dr. Kimberly developed it himself. It has 2 patents on it. Dr. Kimberly has over 35 years of experience as an MD and WebMD and issued multiple probiotics to thousands of patients all over the globe. And he developed this probiotic that releases over 2 billion live good bacteria into your intestinal tract. And the delivery system is extremely superior. One of the biggest problems that we have in the probiotic world for delivery-wise is that, like Dr. Bob was speaking about, the acid inside of your stomach intestinal wall that breaks down your food at the beginning, it's so difficult to get things past that wall alive that's what a lot of the probiotics that you can grab off your store shelf run into. So, you can go buy a probiotic for $20 or $30 at the GNC, but most of them don't even get past your actual stomach wall because they die off all the good bacteria before it even reaches your actual intestinal tract to actually help where help is needed. Whereas in what they've done with our product, it actually inflates like a sponge to lessen the blow when it hits the actual stomach acid, which I think is extremely superior. So with these 4 combinations together, from the Q Max to Q Prime, the Q Omega, and the Q Probiotic, you create this superior wellness system where from head to toe you are completely nourished. And, for those of you that don't like to pop very many pills, I'm on the same page. They used to fill me with Ritalin, Concerta, Strattera, Adderall, you name it, sleeping pills when I was a kid, being diagnosed with ADHD and multiple other things at a young age. I've been searching for a company like this that has a product like this for the brain nutrition that, I've kind of transitioned into the Q Max berries and bananas. And the berries and bananas is pretty awesome because when I have to leave the house really quick, I'll take my Q Max. I'll just take the pill, pop it twice, good to go, away we go. But whenever I want to really have a good delivery of nutrition, I take the Q Max, which is a supplement that you put in yogurt, or you could put it in chocolate milk, or you could put it in water. What I do is I take out the NutriBullet and I put in blueberries and pineapple and mangoes and blackberries and raspberries, etc. Even bananas, depends on the day and what I want to mix. And I slap in 2 scoops of this Q berries and bananas, and man, this thing hits me faster than the pill does. And I think it's because of the delivery method. I know, Dr. Bob, you verified this yesterday, is getting live fruits that are helping carry the nutrition that's inside of the Q Max throughout the body. So that's another product inside of Q Sciences that I can appreciate, and I can appreciate the price of it. So I kind of deviate back and forth. I always take the Prime, the probiotic, and the Omega, but I deviate back and forth between the Q Max berries and bananas and the actual Q Max tablet. Really depends on if I have to run out the door or if I'm, already, because you should take it twice a day. If I'm already in the car or I'm in a meeting, I'll just take them then because obviously I don't have my blender and all my healthy fruits right next to me. And then the sleep spray, extremely superior, really one of a kind when it comes to, sleep products, especially all natural sleep products. I mean, it's $14, $15 for an entire month of this. My mom used to spend hundreds of dollars between Ritalin, Concerta, Adderall, Strattera, and sleeping pills, thousands of, if not tens of thousands of dollars a year on prescription drugs for my ADHD. And, it made me feel like a drone, and couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, nothing on those products. So they actually had to counteract it with a sleeping pill. Well, I can verify that this sleeping product, since the day I started taking it, I take it now, and in 20 minutes I'm hitting the hay. I am going to sleep. I am out like a light, and I have the best sleeps ever. I'm waking up, which is extremely unusual to me, at like 5, 6 a.m., and I just feel so well rested that, I don't really want to go back to sleep, but I'm so used to sleeping in till like 9 o'clock being an entrepreneur that, now I'm having a difficult time getting that extra bit of rest, but at the same time I'm waking up more refreshed and have way more energy. So it just means that, I'm getting into that rhythm, that sleep pattern that matters the most, because, some people sleep, but they don't get into a deep enough sleep where the body actually fully gets rested. That's why the sleep patterns last so long, because you only go into the rhythm for up to 25 minutes. So that was another good product that I found that Q Sciences had. I also occasionally, at my last conference call last week, I felt a little bit tired at the call and beginning of the call, and Brandy came in and took over. And I'm like, well, I got to get some energy going here. And I took the B12 spray. Actually, I should take it right now. And I sprayed it in my mouth, and within like not even, I'd say 3 to 5 minutes, I was extremely full of energy. And one of the doctors that I put into my organization, we're extremely blessed to have a lot of doctors come on board in a small window of time. They see the value of what's happening here, is that this product actually contains something called methylene. And most B12 injections, let me take some right now. Oh, it tastes amazing. It tastes just like candy. Most B12, I bet you there's people on the line right now, like getting their like ambassador kits out and getting the B12 spray and like, I need some B12. But most of the B12 products that you picked up off the store shelf don't contain methylene inside of it. They contain a different ingredient. I don't remember the name right off the top of my head, but this other ingredient, even in the injections that we give to our professional athletes that, from college football, basketball, hockey, all the way up to NHL, NFL, NBA players, it actually contains the other ingredient, and that ingredient makes the body have to use energy in order to convert it to what's in our product called methylene, to then allow the cell-brain barrier to absorb the B12. Well, with the Q Science product, obviously, there's 2 ways to get into your blood system extremely fast, okay? Number 1 is obviously a needle, and number 2 is under the tongue. Well, with it being a spray and having the methylene group inside of it already, the body doesn't have to use energy to convert it, meaning as soon as it hits the bottom of your tongue, it is instantly being absorbed into your blood system, and you are instantly having oxygen being provided into your blood cells, into your brain. I'm already feeling it after just spraying it not even a minute ago. So this B12 spray itself is a multi-billion-dollar market. The sleep spray, a multi-billion-dollar market. The Q Science, the Q Max, a multi-billion-dollar market. Each of these products individually have multi-billion-dollar markets behind them that we can go into and saturate with our market sector. We also have a relief spray. It helps with chronic pain. I used it for my back pain. I also used it for a sore throat and a migraine. I appreciate it because just like Dr. Bob was saying, I'm not much of an Aleve or aspirin or Advil kind of individual. I'm, after making my first, 7 figures in the industry, I decided to start focusing on my health because it wasn't so much about, how much I could make anymore. It was how long could I live to spend the money that I'm making that I started worrying about. And that's why Q Sciences means a lot to me, because of the actual products that are inside of it health-wise. There's nothing like this on the market. Then we have the C Plus spray. The C Plus is built up with vitamin E, vitamin C, and lecithin. And I think one other ingredient, might be zinc. Don't quote me on it. And what it does is it's designed to boost your immune system and be an actual immune system support system. And then we have the D3 spray. And the D3 spray is just essentially vitamin D3, extremely good for cold and flu season. to help your colds and flu. Supports the immune system also. We also have a skincare line from a lift, which removes wrinkles in minutes, to a day cream, a night cream, a cleanser, and a restore cream. We also have a weight loss system. People are literally losing, for instance, as Brandon's mom lost over 40 pounds in 120 days. I think it was like 48 pounds in 120 days on the product. And she didn't even change her routine, wasn't even working out, eating the same foods, etc. And essentially what the actual metabolic system does is it reverses the metabolism, and it tells your metabolism, instead of storing this food as fat, to start burning it. And that was an extremely impressive product also. We do have some things launching this month coming up, September 21st. The company is about to release CBD products from oral consumption to a cream, and a couple of other things that they don't want to release yet, but trust me, they're going to be extremely huge, what they're about to launch behind the scenes at the corporate office on September 21st. But the CBD market is exploding right now, and it is ready to go, and I believe, the product that Q Science is bringing to market, with truck drivers and medical nurses and, farm practitioners. Some people go through reoccurring drug tests, and one of the biggest problems that people are running into by taking CBD is sometimes there's a trace amount of THC inside of the product, so when they go and take a drug test, the actual THC shows up inside of their sample, their drug test sample. Well, I know that what Q Science is about to launch not only will have over an 84% absorption rate, which is insane, but it will also be way below the drug test sampling on the THC side, which is 0.003. It's below that. So it's good for our nurses. It's good for our truck drivers. It's good for people that, construction workers that have to get or maybe might get that occasional drug test. And CBD is the studies that are going on right now in the CBD market. I mean, the fact that you can take CBD, and it's the first time ever in history that they're seeing it actually push out toxic metals out of your and harmful metals out of your actual pores and out of your cells, is kind of odd, but at the same time, it's extremely exciting that we're, in the middle of this groundbreaking shift happening worldwide. And really, the backbone of all of this actually won't be the CBD. The CBD is going to be amazing, but CBD means nothing without the proper nutrition. So if you have the proper nutrition, the CBD is going to work extremely good for you. And that's where I find Q Sciences really has the full effect going on right here. So anything else you think I should cover, Dr. Bob?
I am impressed. No, I think you've covered everything real good. And yes, that C product does have zinc in it. And zinc is one of the most important minerals. And it is for your brain and also for males, for the male system. And I think you've covered everything real good. We've got a tremendous amount of research that's been done, and for us to understand and explain all of the products is an exciting challenge. But I really enjoyed doing the call with you, Alex.
I appreciate it, Dr. Bob, and I enjoyed doing the call with you also. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the lines. Everybody, if you're listening to the recording, get involved as soon as possible, whether it be a customer or an ambassador. At least get on the product for your health. There is a huge income opportunity involved also. My first month in the company made over, actually it was my first week. I joined in a weird week. Made over $1,280 in my first week, broke 4 ranks. And, now we're going on to anywhere between $4,000 to $8,000 this month. And then, should double again next month. So the income opportunity here inside of Q Sciences outside of the nutrition is second to none. There is no other income generating opportunity like Q Sciences because, number one, we're giving people products that they need for their health, and we're also giving them a system that they need for their wealth so that they can work from home. So, Dr. Bob, I appreciate you hopping on the call. I'm going to go ahead and hang up on the lines, and anybody listening to this, go ahead and get involved as soon as possible and get with the person that showed you this. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. God bless.